What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today I am excited to add a new game to the channel, one that I think is going to stay around for a while, and that is College Hoops 2K8. This is my number 2 favorite game of all time, especially in terms of the amount of hours I put into it. I've had so many good memories with this game over the years, and I can't wait to dive right back into it. About 8 months ago, I posted an exhibition game that people seem to really enjoy. I still get likes and comments on it to this day. So I think this game will really complement the channel well. It'll go really well with 06, just good college vibes all the way around. Now, over the past week, I've hinted at one to maybe add some wrestling to the channel, and I did one exhibition game from NBA 2K11. A lot of that stuff will come in time, but timing-wise, I think this is the best time for me to dive into this. The college hoop season is like 2 weeks in, so there's no better time to get our college hoops on. And what we're going to do today is start Legacy Mode. This is the mode that people play the most. It's insanely deep. There's just a lot of stuff you could do with it. And let's just dive right in. Now, the reason why I've kind of held off from adding more 2K8 stuff is because I play on an emulator, and there's been a couple things that's prevented me from like really diving deep, but I've been able to work some out of those kinks. For example, you go to around the NCAA, you go to rosters, and I finally was able to get a roster file to work. And honestly, I've had the roster file, and it wasn't the file itself that was the issue. I just had it in the wrong folder. Just a simple thing that I just goofed up on. Either way, I have named rosters. This is the 2007 season. So, you know, this is Tennessee. You remember Chris Lofton, Juwan Smith, and Tyler Smith, J.P. Prince, Tayshaun Prince's cousin. That's the season I'm going to go with. I will leave a link in the description below of, you know, Operation Sports forums. They got a good list of roster files you can use. Somebody's even worked on a 2021-22 roster file that I may one day want to play around with. But for now, I want to stick with the current roster season. So that's what we're going to go with. Other than that, I think we're ready to rock and roll. So let's dive right into Legacy. Now, you go to Legacy and you got a couple options. You go to Career Open. Open lets you pick whatever team you want. But the real fun is when you get to Career. Now, this brings up some options. Number of users will stick at 1. Half length, what we're going to do with the game, since, you know, you're going to play like at least 30 to 40 games a season. I want to play every single game, but that's just going to take me forever just to get through one season. I like to play on 15-minute quarters. So what I've decided, and I've had some good suggestions from people, is to only play ranked games and tournament games. So that'll come around like maybe 10 games a season. It'll add more once you get better, you know, once I get to a better school down the line and I'll be a ranked team myself. Then we'll be playing a ton of games then we can figure out what to do then. But since you're starting off with a bad school, I won't be playing many ranked games at all. And I'll just have the conference tournament and the big tournament or the NIT, depending on where we finish up. So that means we can breeze through some of these seasons because I'm in this for the long haul. That's where the fun really is. The more you get into this mode, the more you're going to get out of it. So when I do play, I like to put it at 15 minutes. I usually get realistic stats and scores out of that 15 minutes. So that's what we're going to do there. Simulated half length, I always keep it at 20. We'll keep injuries on. Player transfers, I want on. Players leaving early, I want on. Pop-up help, I'm going to turn this off because every time you go to a new screen, they give you a pop-up, and I can explain some of that myself. So we're going to turn that off. Customized conferences, I'm going to turn that off for now. Maybe in a future Legacy, I can get into this, but for now, I'll just turn that off. Customized schedule, we can have on. And we'll go to the next thing. We'll click yes. And now let's create the coach. Let's dive right in. I'll just put in my name. I think I can go back here and how do I switch? Let's do that. There we go. We'll just put in my full name, last name. I wonder if it'll let me. Nope, we're going to have to delete the whole thing. I'll put in my last name. We'll go here, and actually I can switch panels and it already has my name right there. Age-wise, I can go all the way down to 25. I can go to my real age of 35. I don't think it really matters. Let's just go with my current age of 35. I mean, that's going to shorten my time, I think. I think it's going to let me play the 30 or 40 seasons anyways. So we'll stick at 35. Now, I am 5'10". Skin color, I am as pale as a ghost, so we'll stick with 6. Yeah, just want to make sure. Yeah, we'll stick with 6. Suits, I like to keep this neutral, and for whatever reason, I don't remember if I can change this later on during the legacy mode. I may not be able to. We'll go with something kind of, this looks pretty neutral. We'll just go with that. You'd like to do something with your school colors, like it will adjust your tie and such, but I don't think it does that. We'll just go with suit number 2, and I can change it later on if I want to. Head type. We can go with, I don't know if many of these look like me, to be honest. I'm a blonde, and I pretty much have a buzz cut, so we can try maybe something like that. I'm okay with that, and my user profile, will just stick with that. So this is where things get really interesting. I really enjoy this aspect of the mode, is it really focuses on your coach and trying to get better. And you start off with C- across the board for all of these attributes. There's a lot of ways to go about doing this. Normally what I like to do is be a master of one thing before I move on to the next, especially when you're starting off with a really bad team. I would prefer to go with charisma. If you see here, it says high charisma keeps your players' confidence up and gives your recruiting actions more impact. I like to really focus on recruiting, especially with a couple things I'm going to show you here in a little bit. I'm going to use all 5 of my available points on that. And the better you do each season, the more attributes you get to where you can increase all this stuff. So hopefully by year 12, 13, whatever, I'm going to have all this up in the A's. But for now, I'm going to be just dedicated to recruiting, and we will go and pick our school. Now, I went through a little bit of these. Now, a lot of this is based off the roster file that you use. So depending on the roster file you are using, if one at all, these teams may be different. If you notice on the right, everybody is 69 or worse. There is no 70 or above. And we got teams from everywhere. But it gives you nothing but teams that are just pretty average at best. And what I'm going to do, just to me being a Southern, I want to pick a team that's kind of close to where I live. That gives me a good little storyline to work from. And maybe I can work my way back even closer to home. Hint, hint, wink, wink. I'd love to be the coach of Tennessee. So we'll go all the way down. I went ahead and I'm going to go pick Elon. I've never played with them before, but I like their logo and I love their conference. The SoCon is an awesome conference. Now, some of these teams have been out of the conference and they've added some new teams because this is, again, 2007. So this is like a 14-year-old game. But what we can do is I can show you just a bit of the history of the school. They were awful the previous season. Looks like Nestor just hasn't done much of anything there. They've never been to the tournament. We will hopefully change that. You look at the present starting 5, not much to work from. A handful of guys in the 60s, and that's kind of it. But it's basically a drop-off, and that's going to be like that for any team you pick. Now, we're going to look at the roster a little bit more here in a minute. Unity, I don't ever remember using this a whole lot. I think this is a setting I was supposed to turn off later on. I'll check that in a little bit. And our schedule, we will change that here in a while. And, of course, stats, it doesn't mean anything to us because we haven't even played a season yet. You can check out what our gym looks like. It's pretty much a high school gym, so it's going to have that cool local feel to it. So we're going to go back and I'm going to select Elon, and they're out of North Carolina, so I think I checked it's like about 5 hours away from me. So I'm really excited about getting this started. I hope you are too. So now what's next is you pick a couple of assistants. Now I like to do the same thing as what I've done with my head coach. I want to try to find guys that are really good at one thing or another. Now, if you notice, a lot of these coaches, and I wish it'd let you sort by the attribute, but it won't. None of these coaches are really good at anything. All the coaches themselves are C or worse. Offensively, defensively, that's just like how players are impacted on the court when they actually play. Teaching, I'm pretty sure that's when it gets into practice mode and such, and you can assign how you want to handle practice. Scouting is a big one for me. Scouting is completely different from charisma. Scouting is literally how you scout players. Charisma is how you can recruit players. I always want to try to find the best scouter possible. And looks like this D. Clark has got the best scouting attribute of the bunch. Now, you look over his ambition on the far right is a B+. So here in a couple of seasons, he may want to bolt. We may have to replace the guy. Imagine getting this guy right here. This guy is just waiting to move up the ladder as quick as possible. We've already got charisma taken care of by myself. Discipline, I forgot what that's about. We can check that here in a minute. It has nothing to do with like players getting in trouble. I think it's more of them like doing better in practice. It's just like more of a consistency thing. But we're definitely going to hire Clark. The other one, and we could go full-blown recruiting here because the way with Legacy works, you can't leave a school until after 2 full seasons. So you kind of have to invest at least a little bit of your time at that school before moving on. And the whole point of Legacy career-wise is to move up the ladder, and that's what we're going to try to do. So this is a Coach Sexton legacy, more or less. But I still want to find another coach that's good at something. Like this disciplined kid right here. Look at the G Stone. I think he's probably worth going after because he's decent at a couple of things that I care about. His discipline's okay. His charisma is at a C, which is about as good as any we're going to find here. Just an extra bit of help in recruiting will never hurt. He's okay on defense. And the ambition, I'm not too worried about. You'll just get another guy who's probably the same. So I'm going to go after Stone, and we're going to accept those 2 guys. Now, just by looking at the schedule, we can go nuts with this. Now, one thing I do suggest you do, with Legacy Mode, if you schedule a game on Sunday, you cannot have any in-home visits. We can look at the calendar. I don't think I can look at the actual calendar from here. But you can't have any actual recruits come in to visit if you have a game on a Sunday during that week. So if you literally have one game that week and it happens to be on a Sunday, no recruits can come in. It's just a glitch in the game. It is what it is. So what I used to do, and I'm not going to do that here, I used to go back to the 2007 calendar and see which days were on Sundays to make sure that, like, when I would go to, like, Penn right here, I would make sure that wasn't on a Sunday. December 20th in 2007, it very well could have been. But we're not going to worry about that here. Now, it looks like we don't have many non-conference games on the schedule. It's like 6, and that is it. I wouldn't mind ramping this up because I'd like to at least play one decent power team. For example, like starting out at Virginia Tech, that may be a good one to start the season off with actually playing. But I may switch out, like, VCU may be ranked. I don't think they probably are that year. They came on a little bit later. But Penn and Virginia, one thing we can do, I don't know if Virginia is ranked, but we can go here. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell us who is ranked from here. You probably have to write that down or save that somewhere. But since I am, let's go, I want to take on... I'm a big Duke fan as well. Don't hate me for it. But we'll take on Duke. We'll put them right there. I think that's a good idea. We'll play Penn. I'm not going to get too crazy with the schedule. You got to remember, we got a lot of seasons ahead of us, and we can just, if we mess up one season, we can just go on to the next one. So I'm okay with that. We could probably add a game. We can insert a game. I'm kind of looking at the date difference, between Virginia Tech and Georgia State. There's like an 8-day difference, 3, then 4. Just a couple there. We can probably slip in another one if we wanted to, another ranked game. It'll help with our RPI at least. But right now, that's something I don't really have to worry about yet. So we'll just go on to the next part of Legacy. Let's talk about the ABL. The ABL, this was introduced in this game, and a lot of people love it. I like the aspect of it. I'm not going to use the ABL, at least for the first school that I'm working for, because I don't want to bore you into the death. Because if you play the ABL, you got to play, there's, 16 total games you get to play. When you actually get to play the games, you get recruiting points. I'm going to just click. What I'm going to do for now, we're just going to simulate it. Again, I don't want to bore you. I suggest you use it if you got the patience for it. But I'm going to go ahead and simulate it. And you notice, I don't think it's going to move me to the next thing unless I do anything. We're going to let it simulate. There's a couple positives that come with the ABL. You notice on the right it says recruit points total. Every time you go and watch a game, play a game, you get points out of that. If you go to all 16, and again, I think it's 16 games. It says day 19 of 19. It may be 19 games, so I could be wrong on that. Either way, as long as you go to every single game, in the end, you'll total with an extra 3,000 points to play with in that next season. That would be very beneficial for me for this legacy, but again, for channel purposes, I'm not going to go through with it. Maybe in another legacy down the road, we can get really dive deep into it. So if you got the patience for it, do it. What I suggest, if you want to do this is a little cheese. What you can do is change your half length to like a minute. That way you can get through every game in like 30 minutes at the most. But again, I can see how some may want to think that is cheese. Either way, something to think about. Also, when you play these games, the players that you actually get to watch and play with, you will know exactly what they're good at, all of their ratings and such. So, I mean, there's a lot of positives to the ABL. But again, for this channel, it would just take me forever to go through it. And I don't want to bore you with that. But again, I suggest you do it if you have the patience for it. So we've already simulated. We're going to go to the college season. And this is the main hub of our crew, of our team. Let's go, first of all, I want to go to options. Is it gameplay or maybe coach settings? Well, let's look at my coach settings. I need to change all this, but we're not going to play a game today. We'll just, whatever the next game is, we'll probably play in the next video, just depending on which team that is. Play vision, I want off. Play call messages off. Defensive play call, I'll probably do manual for that one when I do play. Substitution, manual, late game fouling, we'll leave that on auto for now. Sliders, one thing I can show you, and it did not accept it, I wish it did, maybe it changes per legacy, is normally what I like to do is go up to 65 on layups for both me and the computer. This is one of the few gameplay issues, is you're just going to see a ton of missed layups, and I feel like this has helped. I do not remember what my slider set was years ago. I wish I would have written that down, but in time I'll remember it. I think I lowered three-point range success for both teams as well. I don't really remember, but I do know layups, it'll drive yourself nuts when you see all these supposedly good players bricking layups left and right. So for now, I'll do a 65 for both CPU and for the user. The rest of that stuff, I'll leave it as is unless I can find... this was another issue I had. This is just a personal thing. I always felt like the energy recovery and fatigue rate was just really off for me. And what I normally would do is the higher the fatigue goes up, the quicker they'll get slowed down. So it's like in a 15-minute quarter game, about 2 minutes in, I'd have some guys just about dead. I may leave this as is. I need to play this game some more because it's been a while. But for now, I'll leave it as is. But don't be surprised if I come in here and tweak something the way it's a little more realistic to what I remember seeing. So we are done with that. The schedule, I want to go to the calendar. We will go and look at the preview show. That's always fun. This is the finalized rosters. This is where we can redshirt teams and such. And then we'll get into whatever our first game is going to be in the next video, more than likely. This is the Midnight Madness game. We're not going to play that. It doesn't really matter. What I was looking for was the Team Unity. I know that is an option somewhere. I just don't remember where it was. All of this is going to stay... I've always played on All-American. I've always had good, realistic results from that. I think MOP is the highest setting, but I've always played on All-American. If I end up blowing out a bunch of teams, then I can gladly change it. I bumped up game speed to 65. That's one of the other little issues I've had with the gameplay. Sometimes I feel like the players just move around really slow and they take their time. Putting that up to 65 along with player speed seemed to have really helped. When it comes to free throw difficulty, I wanted to briefly talk about this. I need to get a patch worked. If you remember the free throws in 2K8, you would tilt your controller back and then forward to shoot the ball. Well, when you're playing on the emulator, it won't let you do that unless you use the patch, and I do not have the patch yet. I should be getting that soon. A couple of these other things. Player lock, I'll have that off for now. I usually switch around players a lot when I'm playing. Free throw percentage, I keep that on. Fatigue, injuries, Unity, there it is. We're going to turn that off. I never noticed it really do much for me. So for now, I'll turn that off. The 6-man, that's like your home field advantage type thing. For whatever reason, I don't ever remember using it much, so I just kind of kept it off. Again, that's something we could change on the fly if needed. So let's go to the coach office. Let's go to our coaching profile. First of all, I want to do everything manual, recruiting-wise. Priority, what we're going to do is I'm going to be pretty much sort of an up-tempo offense. We're going to be pretty exciting. We're going to be, I'm not going to go full-blown Paul Westhead. I'm not going to go that extreme, but we're going to go fairly fast. So, for example, I think it's down here. Tempo, I think we're going to do like a solid 80. Pressure, we're going to do some pressure like off of made baskets and such. So I like to do like about 70. Well, this is full. I'm not talking about full court. I'm talking about just pressure in general when you're on half court defense. I think we can do that. That is fine. We can leave that at 70. Fast break, this is what I want to go up. We can do about 80 there. If you want to do the Paul Westhead stuff, make sure you go up to 100. Transition defense, crash boards, that's a good. We'll do it 50 for now. I may change that a little bit later. Bench depth, since I'm going to be controlling this really doesn't matter. But to be honest, because of that fatigue and energy thing I was mentioning, I've always had to keep it at 10 because everybody gets tired. I would love to have like a 7 or 8 man rotation, but what I may end up doing is just try to play up to 10 guys, and you may see some like hockey line changes along the way. We'll see how that goes. Now, when it comes to recruiting priority and the type of offense and defense we're going to run, let me start off with the defense. We'll start off with man, but my secondary may be like a 3-2. I change this up all the time. It could be a 3-2, 2-3, 1-3-1 man, just depending on who I'm going up against. If I'm going up against a heavy three-point shooting team, I may go 3-2. If they're a balanced team, I may go man. We'll just see what happens there. Pressure defense, we're going to go to where is it? I think it's the inbounds press is what I was looking for. Pressure defense, I'm going to keep that at man. Inbounds press, I always use the 1-2-2-1 if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the one I used. Frequency, we're going to do this after baskets. There it is. There's after basket, and you've seen the rest of this. I know it kind of skipped around there, but that's what I want to set up. So now let's talk about the playbook and the offense. This is going to change season from season. I'm not going to be one of those, we're going to run the flex offense for 30 years. I could change things on the fly, just depending on, for this legacy, I want to do everything around my talent. But normally what I like to do is either go 3 out, 2 in, or go 4 out, 1 in. Now, that doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to go use some of these 4 out plays and such. But normally what I go with is like Princeton. Princeton, just for whatever reason, those plays give me a lot of good looks. Either Princeton gives me the good 4 out look, or Stagg gives me my favorite 3 out, 2 in. So all this is based off your playbook. I'm going to change that in another video. You're going to see which 4 or 5 plays I like to use in this game, along with the quick isolation, quick pick and roll stuff. For now, we'll leave it at Princeton, though. When it comes to recruiting priority, if you notice here, let's check out something. This setting, I'm looking at the first recruiting priority. So this setting is used to determine which type of players your assistant coaches will pursue during the recruitment period. It's the assistants. The type of offense we're going to do, it's just, like I said, I want to adjust to my talent. I need to find good shooters. And let's look at what else we got. Shooting, skills, defense, athleticism. Rebounding. This may change a ton over time. Let's just go with rebounding because I need some guys who can really shoot, and I love to have some guys who can do some rebounding. But let's go with skills. I think the low post offense, I need to find some big guys who can do some low post things. I think that falls under skills. So for now, we'll just leave it at that. Okay, now let me go ahead and save this really quick. We'll just call this, let's go, come on, there we go. We'll just call this Sexton. Or let's just call it Sexton. Let's just do that. I was going to name it after Elon, but we may not be at Elon for super long. We're going to save that. I want to save it. And, okay, so now let's go back to the coach office, management. Let's look at our roster. As you can see here, we have a bunch of small players, we don't have any centers. You can sort by the type of positions we have. A couple of guards, 3 small forwards, a bunch of point guards, 3 power forwards, and a center. And if you sort your overall, we got about 6 guys, 60 and above, which is pretty good. I think we can work with that. But SoCon, that is a pretty tough conference. We got some decent teams in here that we're going to have to go up against. We notice some of the abilities. A lot of these guys are super fast. That little shoe right there, that means they are pretty fast. So if you go over here to the speed, we will go, if I can find it, 85. So I think anything 80 and above is where you're going to get something out of that. or it could be 85. I mean, maybe 85 and above. So, for example, you go over to the 3-point line or 3-point attribute, and here's a guy that's 82, and he may be the one with the 3. Yeah, so it's 80 and above, I guess. So we're going to have a bunch of small players, which means we can do a lot of up-tempo, go down the court, do all that good stuff this year. High pressure. That's kind of what I was hinting at when I was looking at some of these rosters. And when I saw this team, that's what I was thinking of. So if you look at the height, we got one guy that's 7 feet tall. I'll probably end up using him at some point. But we're pretty small everywhere else. That's kind of expected with a small school like us. If you look at our class column, we got 2 seniors, a bunch of juniors, sophomores, and a partridge in a pear tree. So when you go up to the very top, we're going to find out really quick when we get to recruiting how many scholarships we have to play with. It looks like we may have 3. That's my guess. We'll find out here in a little bit. So let's go back and go back to the overall, sort of by there, and let's look at some of their attributes. Now, normally what I like to do, especially at 2 and the 3, your shooting guard and small forwards, I really need some 3-point shooters. So thankfully we got some guys here that can shoot. 70s, I can get away with it for some of these guys. Thankfully we got 4 plus a guy who's really good, who's a freshman. He's definitely going to play for us some. The rest of this stuff, it doesn't mean that much to me. We're going to be a lot of a 3-and-D type of offense. Pretty much what you see in the NBA now. Either 3 points or just down low doing something like a dunk, what have you. Dunks, we don't have anybody that's a super dunker, so you may not see too many dunks this year. I like to have my point guards to be very pass, or who can be able to handle the ball pretty well. If you notice here, we got quite a few guys who can handle the ball halfway decent, which is good. One thing I wanted to show you is the low post offense. That's one thing I got to have regardless of what type of offense I want to run. I want to be able to have somebody who can handle the ball down low, simple post-up moves. We don't have that. The best guys we have are 67 on the low post offense. So that's going to be a struggle for us this year, is at just down low in general. The rest of this stuff, I mean, I can show you later on. One good thing is we got some speed. We got several guys in the 80s. So again, I think it's in our best interest to go up tempo quite a bit. I may get closer to Paul Westhead than what I'm thinking the more I'm looking at this. I just see a lot of good speed for our conference, and I think we need to take advantage of that. So when you go back over here and you go back to the overall, you notice point guard, small forward, point guard, small forward, shooting guard, the 4, the 1, the 3, and we got a center who's a 57. So we just got a bunch of smaller guys, and that's what we're going to roll with. I will adjust the roster later on whenever we play our first game. But I wanted you to get an idea of sort of who our players were. In time, I'll get to remember all of these names. Thankfully, there's like only 14 players on the team. It's a whole lot easier to keep up with than the 70 that we are used to in NCAA football 06. So we've looked at that. Let's go back to coach office and development. Bonus drills, I don't ever remember using this much. That's something I probably need to get into. I think those are the actual drills you can actually go through them. It's been so long since I've actually used any of these. I may skip over this until, I don't know, I'll figure that out. I highly suggest you do it. It's just another small feature they just tacked onto the game. You go passing drill and you pick whichever team or player you want to run that drill with for that week. As you can tell, I think we get 2 drills a week. You go with that drill, and if you do well, you can move his attributes up. So that's like individual training, more or less, when we do stuff like that. So we're going to back out, and we're going to go to training. This is something I will adjust outside of the game. I'm not going to do that here because it takes forever. But this is something I think it's in your best interest, to where you could go in for each week and specialize what you want training for all of these players. And it just takes a while, but I think it's well worth it. I will do that later on, but I just wanted to show you what you can do with training. You can get 2 attributes you can focus on for that week, and you can focus on a specific conditioning attribute. But again, I'll do that later on. We're not going to bother with that right now. Let's go back and see what else we got. Player progression. This just shows you how close some players are to some things. Like, for example, this guard right here, Montel Watson, our best player. He's really close to having his offense and defensive awareness. You see it on the right. Really close to going up to 73. So this kind of gives you an idea if you really want to bump somebody up pretty quickly to something. This gives you a nice little summary of that. And you can just rotate between all your players. So let's back out of that. I want to show you that you can practice your plays, playbooks. I may do that in another video. I don't think I'll do that here. I'll show you which couple specified plays I like to use, and we'll talk more about that later on. Let's go into recruiting. That's what everybody really wants to see, so let's dive into it. Let's go to the map, and there really isn't no such thing as pipeline states in this game, from what I remember. But we are in North Carolina, so you can see how many recruits. And I think that, I wonder if it tells me by region. For some reason, I thought it would tell you. That doesn't mean that's how many recruits are in that state. I think it's how many may be interested in you. I could be dead wrong on that. Somebody can correct me on that. But we're going to recruit locally unless we just find somebody out here in South Dakota or whatever that really wants to come to our school. I doubt that's going to happen, but we're going to keep it local because it's cheaper on your points, and that's one of the struggles with starting with a very bad team is you don't have many points to play with. So let's go to recruits, and you're going to be able to see really quickly what you have and what you can deal with. Now, my preference in terms of what to go after, this is another great benefit of this game. I can recruit high school freshmen if I want to. But since we have so few points to work with, for example, I wonder if I can. As you can see here, we don't have many points to play with. We got a total of 234 points. It's not a whole lot. You're going to have so few points to deal with that you're just not going to have much time to do much of anything. So I never go after freshmen, sophomore, juniors. I only go after seniors until I become a coach at a really big school where I got plenty of points to worry about, hey, let's look at some juniors. All that works itself out in time, but for now, we're going to stick with seniors. Now, let's go over here to interest, and let's look at who really is interested in us. As you can tell, look who's the most interested in us in terms of position. Center. Why is that? I wonder if it'll let me. I don't know if I could do this from here. I'm probably missing a button or something. But if you remember, we don't have hardly any centers on the team. Now, we got 2 scholarships, so what I want to do is to find me an athletic center, or at least some center who can rebound or do low post of some sort. We will find that. If you notice, the most highly interested guys are nothing but big guys. So what I'll probably end up doing is going after probably a power forward and maybe one center. Because if you go back, I need to check again. We go to the coach office and go to our roster. I want to see our big guys. We got a junior, a sophomore, the power forwards. And of course, all of them are terrible. And our one center is a freshman. We need better big guys. As much as I'd love to go, a ton of small guys out there and really run around the court, I would prefer to have at least some size of some sort because we're going to go up against some teams that are going to just manhandle us. So we're going to focus on, with our recruiting, since we got 2 scholarships, 2 big guys of some sort. So I think that's in our best interest. So we can start with center. And I normally avoid 1-star team or players. I will go 2-star. You may look at, you could probably get a 3-star. I've even been able to get a 4-star before, and I'll show you how that can be done. It's not cheese in any way. It's just like some players just get lost through the cracks and such. For example, I wonder if, can I go, maybe it's this right here. There we go. For example, this kid right here is Sean Paul out of Michigan. 4-star kid. Nobody has offered him a scholarship. The way this game is set up is this player will not go to a school unless he gets offered. So as long as some of these 4-star kids don't get offered, you may have a chance at one of them. We're not going to worry about too much of that right now per se. Let's get a little bit more realistic on who we're going to go after. So we're going to go back to the 3-stars. We'll start there. We're going to get nothing but 3 and 2, and if we like it, we may sneak in and get a 4-star on a player who just nobody wants for whatever reason. Now you go back over here to position. We got senior, JUCOs. I don't mind getting a JUCO in this instance. Sometimes you need immediate help. Like for this kid right here. 6'11", 240. He may be perfect for our system in terms of what we want to do with a big man. I love his hair. What I want to start off with is we're going to go region and local. So region and before that, so it's nothing but region and local. And let's look at some of these 3-star kids, and we're going to go with center. We're going to focus on that. And for now, it looks like these 2 guys we have a pretty good chance of getting them. Let's look at this Anton Trailer, I wonder if he's related to Tractor Trailer, if everybody remember him from back in the day. I think he passed away a few years ago. Anyway, looks like Wright State, Eastern Kentucky, LU, that's probably Liberty, then IPFW, that's up in Indiana, Furman, and Elon. So we're still kind of right there. We just probably need to show him some love. Let's look at his ABL stats. We actually already kind of know what he's halfway decent at. We need somebody who's decent on the low post. He's a C+ there, which is fine. B- on the pass. Can he rebound? C+ and C. His height isn't my favorite. I prefer to somebody who's a little bit taller than that at center. But again, I don't need a big lumbering guy. I need somebody who can move around a little bit. So let's look at his speed. Where's his speed? It's down there. We don't know what his speed is. Let's go ahead and recruit him a little bit. Let's go back here, and we are going to do this really quick. I always like to do an email with my top recruiter, which is myself. And we're going to go back here. We're going to request some tape. And then we're going to go back and see what he's really good at. Let's look at, he's good on the layups, B-. His pass is, again, fine. Defense is okay. Strength is okay. And what I want to save him. Can I do that? How do I do that? Did I do that correctly? I know I want to be able to save the recruit. I know I can keep him. I don't know what to call it. Let's go back here. I don't know. You should be able to save your recruit. There we go. Add to target list. There you go. You got to hit the start button. I want to add him there. Let's look at this center right here. Sammy Bosley out of Georgia. This kid was out of Ohio, so that's close enough. Let's look at this kid. We don't know anything about him, so let's go ahead and scout him. We'll email the recruit. That's just a really cheap thing to do, just to get a little something out of that. And I'm going to do as much as I can out of my coach, who's really good on the recruiting, than anything else. Now let's look. So far, oh yeah, I done that incorrectly. I should have done my scout do that. That's my fault. I goofed up on that. That's okay. We don't know much about him other than his low post D, defense, block, and steal. I'm still going to add him to my target list, and I hit the button again wrong. So let's try that again. We can go and those are up pretty high. Let's look at some 2-stars. Make sure I'm doing that correctly. We got a couple local guys down here. Let's see. 6'8", 235, 6'9", 201. It's crazy that Detroit, Michigan, they think that's local when we're in North Carolina. Pennsylvania, North Carolina, much more local here. 6'9", 248 and 6'11", 225. What we can do is, for here, oh, the phone recruit. I done that correctly. I'm sorry. So I was doing email recruit with myself, and the phone recruit was right here. Now, what we can do is, I want to go back to these 2 3-star kids. Oh, I did do the scouting wrong. Okay, I know what I'm doing right. Okay, let's go back. And this kid right here, Hoskins, Donnie Hoskins. Was that him that I just scouted? I thought he was the one I was going after. Where's he at? Oh, it's this kid right here. It's in green. That's why. So let's go here. I want to request game tape. Who is our main training guy? And it happens to be this guy right here at C+. I should have done that with the other two, and that's my fault. So we're going to go back here. We don't know a whole lot about him. Low post D, defense, block, and steals. Again, that is something, his hustle. I would like to know a couple of other things. If that's all it's going to show, maybe it went back to my recruiting priority. So let's go back to our coach. It's been so long since I played this, I forgot. Recruiting, first priority. I want to know if they can shoot, skills. Let's go with athleticism. Let's do that. And let's see if that helps a little bit on the recruiting front. Let's go back to recruits. We're going to go center. We're going to go right here. We're going to go 2-star. And we've got all that set up. And this is the kid that we just scouted. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add him to the list. And we can look at, see what's... Again, nobody's recruiting the kid. That's good, so I think we got a chance here. But I still want to know a little bit more about him. Now, what I can do is go back, and I can visit him. That's a lot of points to put on the kid. I'm just not sure if he's going to help us out or not. We're going to wait on that one. I'd rather just do basic scouting first. And whatever points we do have left over, we will look into that. The other kid I wanted to look at, kid out of Lexington, Kentucky, 6'8", 235. Let's look at this kid. Looks like we're okay in that position there. I want to see, this came through the ABL. You actually get a handful of these out of the gate once you do some of this. And it looks like his low post is a B-. Vert is a B. That's pretty good. His speed is a D. His quickness is an F. So this kid, it probably doesn't fit what we want to do. And his rebounding is just okay. But, of course, this is a 2-star kid. What do you expect? 6'9", 201 for that kid. I was looking, kid out of Nashville we can look at. We can phone the recruit. And I want to scout. And let's look here. The only thing we got out of that was his rebounding. So it kind of changes on what they go look at. Rebounding is a C and a D. Just doesn't tell us a whole lot. But we will add him to our list. And we're going to add this kid to our list. And let's look at what I normally like to do when I mention the 4-star stuff. I have to wait until a few weeks in. Once a few weeks go in, then you're going to see some of these coaches put scholarships on these kids. That's when I'll come back in here and see if a coach, some of these teams have put scholarships on this kid. If we come across this kid like right here, for example, nobody's putting a scholarship on him, then maybe we can go after him. But for now, I'm going to wait till later on. Now, what I want to go do is go back to all. And let's go back to 3-star. Let me just make sure. Here's a JUCO center. Let's just go ahead and look at this kid. He's at 65%. We will scout him. We're going to do the phone recruit. And then we're going to go request tape. We'll do that with Clark. And let's look. The only thing we know about him is a C and C- on the rebounds. But he may be fast. At least he's a JUCO freshman, so we can get some years out of him. He's out of Illinois, but we can at least give it a shot. Just because of the 65%. Now, I can go ahead and put a scholarship on him. Oh, no, I can't do that yet, can I? I got to wait another week or so. But I think it's a good idea to look at that guy. And now let's go, if you notice, let's go to 2-star. And I want to go center for now. And as you can tell, there's just not many players that are really interested in us yet. I don't know if I should go after some of these. Like, here's a kid out of Detroit, another center. We can look at him. Again, we need size in the worst way. I done the scouting wrong. Dang it. I done the scouting with my guy. I didn't mean to do that. But you notice here, doesn't say a whole lot, but we'll at least put him on our target list for now. And now let's go to our guards, or our power forwards. This is probably a good reason we don't have any power forwards interested in us. Now, what I want to try to do, I want to at least go local and see if we're missing out on any local kids, because this is going to be a lot cheaper on us if we go after some of these guys. For example, this kid right here, we may have a chance with him. A power forward, we don't know if he's good at anything, but we can try it. He's at a 47, though. We're already looking at Marshall, Vazekas, Moreno, Carl, another center, local. I like his size, and it looks like we got a chance at competing with Charleston Southern and Winston-Salem State. I think that's who that is right there. Just don't know anything about him. Let's go ahead and scout this kid. Let's go a phone recruit there, and then we'll do the request game tape with Clark. And it doesn't say a whole lot. Just C- for offensive, defensive rebound. And we will add him to our target list. Small forward, 6'5", 224. Again, these guys are getting like way down on the priority list, but how many points do I have left recruiting? I got 174. What I can do is we can go to our target list. How do I get there? Let's, I want to go to my target list. I thought contacted. No. Scouted. No. Targets. That's what I want to see. Stats, I need to get back out here. Let's go back to recruits and targets. Let's look at these guys right here. I don't want to see stats. I want to see attributes. I want to see where we're at here. And we can decide, let's put some points on one of these 3 seniors, these 3-star kids. if we could get one of these 3 guys, we should be in really good shape, and we can figure out what to do with that other scholarship. Let's look at Blake. I really like the look of this kid. We just don't know enough about him yet. Compared to this guy right here, at least we know something. Anton Trailer, C+ and C- on the speed. I want to know more about this kid right here. I know he's a JUCO, but I don't mind going after him. So let's go to a game of his, and let's go have Clark do it because he's a better scouter. We'll do that for this week. For Trailer, we can go ahead and phone that recruit. I must not have done that. We can have Clark do this, have him scout that one as well, and then Bosley, let's just phone the recruit there. And am I missing anything? Looks like I am out of points for the week. As you can tell, I got 4 points over there. We can at least make sure some of these guys are accounted for. So we've used up all of our points for the week. That was pretty simple enough. I know they're nothing but centers, but we will add a couple more guys here in a minute bit. And once we really start to figure out which 2 or 3 we got a really good chance at, then we'll cut a lot of the ties from some of these other ones. We won't know until some scholarships are thrown out there, and we'll find that out here in a week or so. So let's go to schedule. We'll go to calendar. And let's look at the preview show. Kicks off. We're going to skip that calendar event. And we will redshirt here shortly. And I want to attend that. Well, let me do it. I hope I don't do this wrong. Dang it. I completely missed this. I'm so sorry. I wanted to go. It wouldn't let me do it. I wanted to watch the preview show, and it wouldn't let me do it. I must have hit a button wrong. So I'm so sorry that we missed that. So let's go. We got another full week of recruiting. So let's go back to our coach office. Let's go to management. Let's go to roster. And is there anybody that's worth redshirting? I'm going to guess that we do not have that. I don't know if it's in our, like, for example, a lot of these 5 guys are going to 6 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to have a couple of these big guys play for us for sure. We need some size in there. And we got some 3-point help there. Let me just look at my... I only need about 3 to 4 shooters. We got a 3-point guy, 58, 58. I don't think I'm going to redshirt anybody. Redshirting, I'm not as hardcore about it in this game as I am like an 06. Redshirting is a big deal in football. Basketball, not so much. So I'm just going to let all that go and not worry too much about that. So let's go back to recruiting. We got, as you could tell, our schedule. And again, I'm so sorry we missed on that. I just hit the button wrong or something. I should have figured out what they've done there. We got a full week of nothing but recruiting, so let's get right back into it. We'll go to recruits. And let's go to targets. And let's check out and see what we've learned from some of these players. So we went and visited and scouted a couple of these guys. Anton Trailer, kid out of Cincinnati. Biggest thing I need for him is somebody who can rebound, who can run the floor a little bit. I think this guy really fits the bill. I like what I'm seeing here. I would love to put a scholarship on him, but we're going to wait just for a minute. We don't know his priority. Let's look at some of this stuff here. His priority is being close to home. That's probably going to hurt us. This is a big deal. Recruiting priority, being close to home, and us being a region, we may not have a chance at this kid. Because if you go right here, Wright State, I don't know where Wright State's at. Morehead State's closer. East Kentucky's closer. Liberty's closer. I don't think we're going to have a chance here. What I probably should have done is looked at that first before putting a lot of time and effort into him. So what I'm going to do is cut my ties with this kid. I don't think we're going to have a chance unless nobody offers him a scholarship. So we're going to wait on that one. Let's go to the next guy. Being close to home, again, this is my fault. I should have looked at this earlier. Like I said, recruiting parties is a big deal, and I just completely forgot about that. So I don't think we're going to have a chance to get this kid either. Looks like he really wants to go to Illinois State. So I'm going to cut my ties there for sure. Let's just go ahead and remove him from the list. I'm going to remove Trailer from the list as well. I just don't think we have a chance. Let's look at Bosley. More contact needed. We need to go and visit this kid. It looks like he may be one of those kids that wants to. We can phone him, the recruit, and let's go and visit or go scout a game of his. Let's have Clark go there. We're going to find out real quick on him. Some of these other kids, we just don't know about their priorities yet. And it's quite possible for like this trailer kid, I did not know that until we went and visited him or went and saw a game of his. So this could be brand new information for me. But again, it's going to be really hard for to get this kid because his priority is being close to home. So we may need to prioritize some of these other kids. But what I want to do is go back here and let's look at, you notice a bunch of 1-stars. I am not going to go after a 1-star kid. These guys are so bad. So that's something for us to think. I may have no choice towards the end. Let's go senior. I'm just looking. Here's a power forward regional kid. Just don't know much about him. For power forward, I pretty much need a center. I just need a big guy who can move and run the floor pretty well. We just don't know much about him. He's out of D.C., New Jersey, New York. And some of these guys are going to be really tough. But at least we know something about Jarrett Beals. That's a great name. His vertical is incredible. He can really fly. He can really, jump. Nothing else really stands out, but we can at least target him. We can phone him and get a little love out of there. I want to request some tape. I want to make sure. We still don't know much about him. We can scout one of his games. We need some bigger guys, though. Like here, power forward. Again, you notice the interest. Interest is everything. If you go to the 2-star kids, it's just a big drop-off after that. And that, we got nothing but shooting guards and point guards wanting to come here. But we need bigger guys. Like Freddie Terry, I think he's worth looking at. We already know a little bit about him. Let's scout him. So if you go right here, his vertical's pretty good. Power forward, though, nothing really stands out at all. Like, he's not good at anything. His dunk is okay. He's just a dunker. That's kind of it. Not much, but I like his size at least. He just can't get down the floor all that well. So I'm not going to really go after him much. Let's go back. Let's look at these power forwards. What we can do is probably... Let's go back to center. Let's just go straight to request some tape for a couple of these kids. We'll go down to like 57. And that's a national kid. I probably need to do this regional. Here's another thing. You can go after world players, but not many people recruit them, but it's still, you're taking a chance on going after those guys. I just wanted to point that out. We can scout this center. Look at this guy, 7 feet, 231 pounds. We'll go down to 50. Power forward, we got a few of these guys here. We'll just request tape first, then we'll go back to those. And I'm already about to lose. He doesn't have enough points available, so I can do that myself. And we'll do this 56 guy right here. So let's go back to center. And we're already going after... Let me back out here. It's a little bit easier if you do this. Go to recruits, and you go to targets. And we can look at these again. Bosley, we do not know enough about him. We just need to go and get in touch with these guys a little bit better. How many points do I got 29 points left. Can I do anything with these guys? I don't need to scout. Yeah, I don't need to scout any more tape. I mean, I can look up some more stuff about this kid, but that guy's F on the quickness. His rebounding's okay. He's not bad. Low post is a B-. That's about a loan worth going after that kid. We can finish up the recruiting. And I can at least phone him. Let's use up all of our points. I do not remember if points carry over to the next game. We're going to phone the recruit. Email may be a waste of our time doing that, so we'll at least do that. So now let's go back to some of the centers that we were going after. And power forwards. We'll go senior. And some of these guys right here. Just don't know a whole lot about them yet. So we just need to probably put our Maybe put a target list on a couple of these guys just in case. 6'9", 222, 7 feet, 231. We can add him. We can add this guy too. That's fine. And then we'll go to power forward. Again, I need some bodies. Bigger ones. Precisely. And for here, I'm out of points just about, aren't I? We can do our email. And I guess it don't cost any points to do the email. We will contact these guys later on down the road. We just don't know enough about them yet. Except for like this Freddie Terry kid. Just bare bones on some of these other ones. C- on the speed. This kid right here. Block is okay. But again, just don't know a whole lot about him yet. We'll just wait. So we're out of points. So what we can do is go to schedule, go to calendar, and go to the next Monday. We'll simulate that. Set your roster. Would you like to stop simulation and just red shirts? I do not. Again, I just have no desire to really redshirt anybody. Some of those guys in the 50s, we're going to have to do some stuff there anyways. So we're right here. I'm going to save this really quick. I want to override it, and I may have renamed it wrong. That's okay. We'll go back to recruiting, go to recruits, and we'll go back to our targets. And now we can offer a scholarship to somebody. But if you go here, Sammy Bosley, kid out of Atlanta, being close to home. He looks like he's going to Georgia State. I don't think I have a chance there, so I am going to cut ties with him. We'll remove him. Let's look at Fazekas. We don't know anything about this kid, but he's really close, 6'9", 248. Let's go ahead and scout. Let's send... we're going to phone with me. We're going to at least get that one out of the way. So I think we got a chance with this kid at least. What we can do is look at this Bills kid out of D.C., Jarris Bills. Power forward. Let's go. I want to do that. I want to see... Being close to home, D.C., and looks like Navy's already offered. I just don't know if we got a chance with this kid. I'm telling you, the priority thing's a big deal. And are we close enough to D.C. that could be considered close to home? I mean, there's Loyola, Maryland, DSC. I don't know who that is. UNC Wilmington, Lehigh. Again, I don't know if we're going to have a chance with that kid. I mean, like, what you can do is you can go right here and offer a scholarship. And that boosts us up a little bit, but not enough for it to... I just don't know. That we still don't know enough about the kid. Well, I guess we know all of our stuff now. I don't know. He's got a lot of C's and stuff, which I think is going to be good enough for probably what we're looking for. Problem is, a power forward, I don't know if that's just what we're needing. And again, I'm just a little worried we're not going to be able to get the kid. So what we can do is go back. I want to resend the scholarship. And it goes down. So I'm going to remove him from our list. I just don't think we have a chance. We're going to go back. And now we got a bunch of 2-stars. We got one kid right here that may be the more talented of the bunch is Donnie Hoskins. Just don't know anything about him. I want to know what he cares about. We won't know about that until 6'8", 235. We won't know about that until we have somebody sent to him. Same with Fazekas. We don't have enough points to do it, do we? I'm not going to put a scholarship on him just yet because you go right here. We don't... Feeling wanted. Okay, this is good for us. 6'9", 248. You look here, we're already at the top of the list. And look at... We just don't know what he is into. So we really need to prioritize him in terms of... Let's put a scholarship on him for now. And let's email him. And that should really bump us up. So I think we got a chance of getting this kid. I just want to know a little bit more about him in terms of this stuff right here. So Marshall Fazekas, that's a great name. He's a big body. Hopefully he can run the floor at least a little bit. If not, we'll adjust. Or Feeney, we need to find out more about what this kid is into. Looks like he's really destined to want to go to Alabama A&M. I don't know if it's worth putting points on him, but at least we're kind of there. Let's keep going. Donnie Hoskins, we've already talked about him. Looking here, we just don't know enough about this. Quantus Hancock, again, just a killer name. He's got the size, his defense is C+, but we just... Looks like we may have a possibility here, but Detroit, Michigan. I mean, the dude's all the way up the other side of the country, up north. We can scout him at least. We can do that. I want to scout his... maybe we've already done that. I don't know why it won't let me. We can phone him. We can phone him. We can at least phone these guys, get this out of the way. Let's look at some of these other ones. More contact needed, more contact, more contact, more contact. So we just need to go ahead and try to get a couple of these guys we need to scout them. I'm just trying to find one. Looks like we don't have enough. We're down to 5 points. I guess there's nothing else we can do. We can email the rest of these guys. Just every little bit helps. And I would like to... Am I already out of points? I'm already down to 5 points, like I said. Let's go... I feel like we need to add a power forward of some sort. We've already looked at a couple of these kids. I want to scout that guy. We're already out of points altogether. So what I'm going to do is target a bunch of these. I don't know how many targets we're allowed to have. I think up to 15. Let's go ahead and just go through all of these power forwards, and we'll go through real quickly and see what they're into or not. We'll go here, and I'm already an hour into the video, so we'll end this one here pretty quickly. So we've already added all those, and since we're already out of points, there's not a whole lot we can do with these, but we can email the rest of them just to get a little love going. That may help us on the percentage. And let's go to our schedule. We got Virginia Tech coming up. Let me know if you want me to play Virginia Tech. I think that one's probably worth playing just because they're Virginia Tech. They probably are fairly decent, and we can do that. I'm going to go up to simulate through this day. And we can check and see Virginia Tech where they are at. I'm going to back out. And we can go around the NCAA. We can go to polls. I don't even think Virginia Tech is on here. They normally don't have a big basketball program to speak of, so they're not ranked, but they may be halfway decent. I wonder if it'll let me. It's been a while since I played this. Let me look here. There we go. I can at least look at their overall and stuff. So they're 78 overall. I mean, they got some bodies. They got better players than we do, of course. Their RPI's of 128. Seth Greenberg, when he coached there. So just let me know. We can play this game for our next video if you want to. But I think I'm going to leave this year. Hopefully you enjoy this. I'm excited about this legacy. I can't wait to see what we can do with this particular legacy. I'd like to see us grow, move up the ladder, and have a whole lot of fun going forward. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.